The NFL is on EA Sports, and we're at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Just a short time ago, the Buccaneers emerging from their tunnel to the roar of this frenzied crowd here in the Sunshine State. And we're in the big kick, and fittingly, everyone here ready to do battle as Tampa Bay gets ready to match up with Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Two teams that came into the NFL together back in 1976. The Seahawks and Bucs are underway. Reed going to bring it out of the end zone. And they'll get him down right around the 25, actually the 26 officially, so a net gain of 1 there. On 1st and 10, it's Wilson. Buying time to his left. Into the secondary, past the 40. And smartly going into the slide there, Wilson has enough for the first.
You know, I don't think this is the last time we'll see that in this game. This guy has mobility, and they want to use his legs in the game plan. So there will be designed runs as well as his scrambles.
A big hitter to start the drive has him up near midfield here for 1st
This
and
is
10.
the Rumor Report with Angela Yee.
All right, well, 50 Cent is upset with Stars, and he said he's leaving the network. He said, "This is me packing my stuff. Stars sucks. My deal is up over here. I'm out." They renewed Hightown, and Force is the highest rated show they have. It's sitting in limbo. If I told you how much dumb ish I deal with over here. And then he did some more posts, and he called for the head of development for G-Unit Film and Television to get ready and start packing their bags.
All I see when I see posts like that is boundaries. I love the way 50 Cent talks to Stars because he is a money maker over there. He is a rated bringer. So when they don't do things the way he wants them to do it, yes, he sets his boundaries.
Now, he did sign a 4-year overall deal with Stars in 2018. They said it was worth as much as $150 million. So now it's the final year of his contract. And we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, on Stars P-Valley, they have announced that Season 2 is coming. And I saw when 50 wrote that, people were like, oh, wait, hold on, P-Valley's coming back. Because people love that show also. So no date was specified in the teaser that they put up from the cast, but it is coming back.
50-50. I think people really underestimate how much content 50 Cent provides for Stars, man. Dropping the clues on 50 Cent.
He provides a lot of content.
He brought Stars back. Because nobody was really...
Nobody was watching Stars.
Nobody's talking about Stars. Yeah, you're right.
All right, now Cardi B and Offset, they went to one of our favorite restaurants, Brooklyn Chop House, and according to page 6, they left a $1,400 tip for their $3,000 meal. So that's really dope.
Shout out to Brooklyn Chop House. If you ever come to Manhattan, Brooklyn Chop House is in Manhattan. I know people think, oh, it's in Brooklyn because it's called. No, it's in Manhattan.
It's right by the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah,
so
great
they
restaurant.
call it Brooklyn Chop House.
Shout out to Don Poole.
And they're opening one in Times Square, so if you ever make that trip here, you know.
Yeah, it's almost done in Times Square, too.
All right, now Dave Chappelle has invested in a podcast company, Luminary, and it's Pilot Boy Productions. They're investing in that subscription podcast platform. And so, shout out to him. He said, I chose Luminary when he first put his podcast, The Midnight Miracle. He said, I chose Luminary because they value artists and share my vision for reimagining audio content. The Midnight Miracle in our unique format is changing the...
I don't know, man. There was people using the word legend.
That gives the Bucs a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, he gonna be a legend with history that he made
Against somebody that looked not great. You know what I mean?
Because it's a title grab. You know, it's an accolade. Oh, he's at cruiserweight. I did that.
Boom, let me take that. Yeah, that right there. But that doesn't mean it was a real challenge. Like, stay in your own lane. You heard of that before. Stay in your lane.
Charlo do it?
And now the kick is away.
Charlo do what? Go up? I don't know. You tell me. Did he?
Reed going to bring it out of the end zone. And ultimately,
because that ain't his lane.
Out to the 25-yard line.
That's where staying your lane comes from.
Canelo is every lane.
Canelo is boxing. I'll give him that. But then when you go up to beat somebody that's less than you, no matter what, in skill level.
But if it's less than, why ain't everybody doing it?
Because they're in their lane, man. They're not looking at it like that. Canelo's looking at it and they're selling it. It becomes a whole narrative.
What is this in your lane shit? How about you create a lane like Canelo?
To let him get settled back.
Yeah, create the Charlo lane.
Yeah, what lane is that?
Yeah, not a problem.
The lane that
people
want to get their name on their resume and then have it. And the lane that you ain't trying to cross. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Brad, I know we're in the early going here, but those kind of runs, they're going to open up a world of opportunities for this offense going forward.
Who's that?
Now Wilson.
And
forced down to his left. And smartly going into
I feel like that's going to happen.
That
those three, they're in the mix. And, you know, Canelo already acknowledged it. Fight each other. And then the winner faces me.
I don't think they worry about that with Russell Wilson. He's so smart in what he does. We just saw it there on that scramble.
Nothing open downfield, so he'll throw it away.
That's what the networks want.
And the accuracy and the timing of a guy trying to throw the football. And on that play, they ended up flushing him to his left. Contacted him as he's trying to throw the football.
I got Big
and that led
Fish
to the
Davidian
incompletion.
Buffalo Falls. What is up?
2nd and 10 now. Wilson.
I'm healthy, strong, and about to knock Earl Spence out in Jesus' name. I'm bringing the whole church.
SDS promotion.
The last time in a similar situation, he forced a ball into the pit. He learned better there.
I got the whole Christian congregation behind me.
TheBoxingVoice.com.
In Jesus' name.
And we all know God only made one thing perfect, and that's my boxing ring.
Yo, good morning. In Jesus' name.
Good morning.
Dancing to his left. Lockett with a grab over the middle. And this is going to lead to another first down as the tackle's made at the Bucks 35. Ball up to the 35 now as they come up on 1st and 10.
Yeah, I'm trying to be more consistent with it, you know.
Wilson leaves this one with Penny. And he's going to take this ahead for right around 3 yards, but no more than that. 2nd down. After 1, 7-0 on EA Sports.
I hear it now.
Well, there's documents out that, like, yo, it's impossible to be depressed working out.
Oh, word?
Yeah, but then, you know, say that to Ryan Garcia, right?
2nd and 7.
Shots fired.
Not really, I'm just saying.
Shout out to
the right side here with Penny.
He did.
And not able to break away this time as they're going to stop him right around the
I watched the highlights when he told dude that, yo, you can't beat me in Mario Go-Kart. And dude was like, yo, you got a mouthpiece on you. You can say what you want to say. But if I said it in my language, blah, 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 that was like the best part for me.
Did it not look like a press conference?
Going for Metcalf on the deep ball.
Why? Because the cameras were close?
Caught by Metcalf for a
it wasn't wide showing the whole stage.
Yeah, and it was like very poorly lit, right?
Yeah, it was kind of dark purplish. I don't want to say poorly lit. I just think that, yeah, I would say poorly lit. I don't think they had anything special out.
Jason Myers now for the extra point.
You know, they got the point across, right? It was a press conference. Ryan Garcia, I don't know who the opponent is. Ryan Garcia still seems like he got, like, you know the thing when you, like, somebody sitting down and they, like, shaking their leg non-stop. They call that the anxiety shake.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Taking in at the 3.
Great one.
Term is my time span, my time is in his hands. I'm a
the 20, but not much further as he dropped at the 23-yard line.
Flair Cobbs, March 19th. The greatest welterweight in the world is back on the scene. The mean.
Brady and the Bucks now with the 1st and 10 at their own
murdering
23.
Machine.
Opponent is
They'll start out on the ground. It's Leonard Fournette. And not a whole lot of room to operate
there
on the first down run. He gets maybe 3.
You don't put the opponent
3 yards on that last carry. Here's 2nd and 7. From the gun, it's Brady. That's complete to his receiver, Godwin.
Blair's a star,
He's
man.
upended after a gain of 2 out to the 27.
The thing is, you know, we got to see how far he can go
Throwing is
because he's
Brady
got
on
to win
3rd
to
down.
keep up the act.
And he's got the first down yardage before being taken down at midfield.
But, yo, have you ever
He's
seen
such a
him
good
jump,
route runner. Shows it there on 3rd down. Very proficient and a good pass.
And you know what I've observed over the years in the NFL? The better a route runner you are, the more confidence your guy's going to have in you to go to you in important times.
I don't recall, but I do know who he is. I've seen him. He's under Golden Boy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he fought under zone cards.
Yeah.
He fought under Canelo Kovalev card. I seen him in real life. I know who he is.
Before any defender can step up and fill it.
They did it well there. Perfectly
but he's really
crossing route. No gain that time on the completion, and it'll be 3rd down.
Damn, so if there was an invasion, what side would he choose?
I mean, he ready. My man, he play with them guns.
Again, it's Brady.
Everybody but on this side play with the guns.
That's caught by the mid tight end, O.J. Howard. And he's going to have a Bucs first down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion.
Yeah.
Not to say that
Second quarter, 2 minutes to go. Tie ball game.
Illegal. Now, they play with them, but they get caught. It ain't a slap on the wrist.
Let me see if this the dope jump video, man. My man, he's all stills. Trying to show y'all his skills, but he be getting hammered.
Yeah, it takes a lot, man, to do them jump rope skills, man. I tried a couple of times. It's not easy.
Just a little video I'm going to let y'all see. Little tease. It's him shadow boxing, you know, the speed, no welterweight.
We'll remind you in just a couple of minutes, we'll get you to Orlando and our good friend Jonathan Coachman. Coach will run through some of the numbers and the next-gen stats from this first half of football. So
way out there, that deep, man, like usual.
First, and that'll make it 2nd down.
Well, on every play call, you realize he's not going to go for a touchdown. So a lot of your calls
and this ain't
are setting things up for maybe later in the game, trying to establish the inside run with toughness now. Hopefully get to the perimeter later, and let's face it, you could do worse than a 4-yard run on first down.
And down inside the 15, shy of the 10.
I think
that's pretty much meat and potatoes right there, wasn't it? Just go right at him and let your big horse charge up the middle. Not too fancy there, was it?
Nothing fancy at all. Challenging that defense.
What gym is that? That's in Mexico?
The offense won the challenge.
Nah, that's
now Leonard Fournette.
Nah, I mean, excuse me,
down to the 6-yard line on a pickup of 6 as he gets halfway to the goal line.
Just, you know what I'm saying?
That's a strong pickup right there on first down. And as this drive goes on,
I didn't know that
the offensive line and running game imposing its will.
On 2nd down, here's
I mean, I didn't know like what
at the
5-yard line.
Give him 2 on the play.
Icon,
now the Bucs going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll stop it with 13 seconds to play in half number 1.
G5, look at him in G5. G5, what? Let's go. Now, I don't think that's a G5 with a motherfucking carbon fiber steering wheel. Could it be?
Well, I'm looking at the Maybach.
Brady looking to throw on 3rd and 2. And a dangerous throw there as that's knocked down and incomplete.
They really had a good drive going there, but a nice recovery
crazy
by the
out
defense
here.
these past few downs. Able to knock that one away on 3rd down and bring up what I think for the offense, an unexpected 4th down here.
Now
so Golden Boy's giving him that guapi
as
mode.
On 4th down, may as well make them punt it. So they won't get a touchdown, but here's a chance to at least get 3 to end the first half. From the right hash, and this one just a chippy. Oh, they get to the football. It's blocked.
Please tell me this doesn't come off as snarky.
Everybody got mad at
that's a relative chip shot. I mean, you've got to be able to execute that one. I don't care what they design on the other side about trying to block the kick. That should be 3 points on the board.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. If you're out
you got to build that buzz up some more so it can be known.
Here, you get that thing up, this should be 3.
Yeah,
him and Virgil, they were wandering around in that convention center. Remember?
Snap, hold, kick, ball through the post. Didn't happen.
On the undercard, I don't know if Virgil fought that night on Canelo's Kovalev undercard.
gets
and we were out there. They both were there just walking, you know, in that convention center.
I mean, you know, fighters don't really take it to the street, you know what I'm saying?
First half
Right.
in the books. You're
be some
watching the
mid-range Mike Tyson
NFL
shit.
on EA Sports.
Okay, Coach, yeah,
Like,
adjustments
nobody
likely
really
going to
want
play a
this
big role in this
Everybody
third
see
quarter
what
in
he
what's
did to
been a
Brad
tight
Solomon.
contest so
Yeah, it's
far.
like, hold up.
I never put it together like that he would be a Virgil opponent.
7-7 our score.
Oh, yeah, he
A
could be a
tie
Virgil
game. I don't think anybody in this building, including you or I,
Nah,
I'm
no,
sure
nah.
Virgil will be the
No, I would agree
favorite.
with
I'm
that
sure
totally.
Virgil
I
will be
didn't
the
expect
favorite,
to see it
but
at all, but
I think
kind of like
this
where they were
kid's a
going
sleeper,
with this.
man.
You know, as
He
you
got-
said,
he
tie
got
game,
heart, man, and
trying to
he lets
steal
those hands
possession,
go.
steal an
That's what
advantage,
matters.
and you told your defense at the
A
half you were
sleeper
going
as
to
in
do
like
it, which
y'all
also
sleeping on
told
him?
them that you
A
had
sleeper
confidence
as
in
in
them
he
in
won't
case
be
it
the
failed,
favorite in
as
any
that
of
one
the
just
fights
did.
with any
now
of the
you've given
big
good
names,
field
but he can
position
shock
here to
us.
start the third
I would
quarter.
really like him to get the Thurman fight. Perfect
Brady
fight.
now
Him
on
and
first
Thurman
down.
would be insane.
That'll be caught. It's the tight end Howard.
Insane that
Touchdown,
build-up.
Tampa
Insane.
Bay.
I'm sure the build-up would be
O.J.
insane,
Howard,
but
51 yards.
I think he needs some
And
more
the
fights,
Bucs
man.
have taken
Oh, of
the
course,
lead.
but in this game,
Hey, when you're thinking about your opening drive
you
in the
gotta
third
take them
quarter, you're thinking
opportunities
about
when they come
exactly
and knock
that, putting together
Because
a drive. But instead, what
Thurman
did we
showed
get?
Mario
Big pass downfield,
Barrios
touchdown.
like
I thought,
experience
okay, I'm just sitting
level
back
on
in
that
my
fight.
chair. Let's get eased in. A couple
yeah,
runs.
I mean,
No.
or he
Boom.
showed
Yeah,
his
forget the body blows,
lack
folks.
Yeah,
Let's
or
go
he
with the
showed
big
his,
shot
or he
right
showed
now.
his lack of
Extra point
elite
put
level
through by
experience,
Succo.
man.
And
Yeah,
that
but he
makes
was
the score
super
14-7.
accurate.
I'm gonna open up
All
these
over.
lines, man. We going out too.
And the Seahawks looks like they've recovered. They have.
Hawk in Maryland.
That's why you have your hands sticking out there on the field. Those are the best guys ready to make that play.
Holy shit.
Executed well. It wasn't a bad kick. It wasn't anything like that. Just that the normal outcome actually came to play. Analytics will tell you it's a very low possibility of getting the ball for the team kicking it in an onside kick situation.
You're all about the numbers, aren't
All
you?
about the numbers, baby. It's a new game now.
They don't lie. Just a yard on the first down carry, so it's 2nd and 9.
Well, sometimes you just have to give credit to the defense. Great job there at the point of attack, holding up. They won their battles at the line of scrimmage, left him no space to try and run. A really nice job swarming to the ball carrier.
Meanwhile, Wilson's throw into the hands of Lockett. And he's going to get this down near the 20-yard line. Now Wilson on first down. Flush to his right. Dumps that off to Penny, his running back. And he'll be taken down at the 20 after a gain of just 1.
Caught that look from you there, partner. I think we're on the same page on that one. Just his first catch. I think we both thought he'd be a little more active in the passing game. Let's see if that's the start of them trying to get the ball to him a little bit more here in the second half.
Steps away to his left. And he's left with no option here but to throw it away.
Well, defensively, they haven't let him just sit in the pocket and get comfortable, and that's opposite a lot of game plans in today's NFL. Ordinarily, you're trying to keep the quarterback hemmed in. In this case, they've brought the heat, and if he flushes out, they're fine with that, and they force another incompletion.
That's going to be complete to his tight end, Everett. Touchdown, Seahawks. Gerald Everett, a 20-yard touchdown. And the Seahawks just an extra point away from tying this thing up. Myers connects on the PAT, and that will tie our game here in the third.
In the podcast experience. So terms of his investment were not disclosed, but his production company will have a seat on Luminary's board of directors as part of the deal.
I think it's going to be hard for people to ever, want to pay for podcasts on a monthly basis.
Now
There's
as
so
he
many
sends this
great
one
podcasts
away.
available.
And the Buccaneers
Like it would take a whole lot of podcasts,
The
getting behind
risk
paywall.
reward of the onside kick. When
Yeah, I
you
know
don't
his
get
podcast
it,
is on there and it does really well. And from my understanding, he has some really big ones coming on the way, and he has some great relationships. So
Yeah, but he's also Dave Chappelle.
Exactly, but there's some. He has some great relationships with people who are just as huge. So I'm sure he can make it happen. All right, and Willie Tiller has said that making the band set artists up for failure. You know, people were posting all of these controversial moments from making the band and saying it was like a boot camp. It was a terrible experience for people. And so Willie Tiller from Day 26 posted, learning experience. You got to understand that people will do to you whatever you allow them. So don't let your passion drive you to the wrong destination. And he said, Day 26, Danny DeCane are talented groups, but the situation in which we met was designed to fail. And yes, he talked about the platform, he talked about the contracts. And so just don't be too excited about something that you go for anything, is basically what he's trying to say.
But I mean, majority of people will, though, right? That's been the music industry for years. Like, the music industry's always been predatory. It hasn't changed. It's not like they started giving out better deals.
No, they haven't. But people got to understand too that it's also an investment. You know what I mean? If Diddy put all that money into Day 26 and Day 26 flop, nobody's gonna say, "Here's Diddy, here's your money back." So they do these contracts to make their money back, and hopefully, when you make your money back, you can renegotiate. But if you don't make the money back, or you're not a super duper group, you know, what am I going to do?
As I said, folks will still sign up for record deals tomorrow knowing that.
Right.
Because they want to be a star.
Right, but let's not get it twisted. Nobody would know who Day 26 is or Danny DeCane if they didn't sign it, if it wasn't on television, if he didn't invest that money into them. Nobody would know who they were.
He put those groups together.
He put them together.
But I feel like nowadays people do have a lot more options.
They do.
And so there's a lot of different ways you can go to get out there. Back then, it wasn't like we had streaming services. You know, there's a lot of things that didn't exist that exist now. So
But people still signing them deals.
yeah. And look, if you live someplace where the music industry is not prevalent and you don't have a team of people that can help you get known, what else can you know, you might feel like this is the way for me to get my name out there.
Basically, if you don't want to get got, you don't have to get got. But most people want to get got to have a good shot.
And that is your rumor report.
Rapid Leonard. All right, front page news, that's what we're talking about.
Yes, let's talk about coronavirus, the pandemic.
That's still around?
Yeah, what is going on? I'm not going to lie, I was feeling under the weather yesterday. I was just exhausted. I was like, man, I took an at-home test. It was negative. I'm going to take another one today just to be absolutely sure. Because
Did you read the sign when you walk in the doors? If you feel sick, don't come in.
By the way, I must say that sign has been here since Corona, though. That has been, iHeart has been saying, iHeart had that sign up way before there was a coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, nobody listens to it.
Good by Succo. And the lead is
You
now
got it, I got it. Breakfast Club, good morning.
Now Pinion with a kickoff honors following the touchdown. Reed going to bring it out of the end zone. And they'll get him down right around the 25, actually the 26 officially, so a net gain of 1 there. Coming to the line here to begin their next drive, the Seahawks offense.
So this is the commissioner who answers to them, who wants to create a situation where they ultimately get to impose a final offer that the players must capitulate to.
You know the question was coming.
The money out.
I mean, I got Mad Dog Nation on the air with me right now. But I never suspected, I never dreamed in my wildest dreams that Mad Dog Russo, synonymous with baseball, Mr. Baseball himself, as far as I'm concerned. He's coming on the air, and we don't have baseball? What the hell is going on with Just Sport, Dougie? Speak up! Speak up!
Yes, sir! Yes, Stephen A. Hey, here's what's going on with the sport. It's a disaster right now. Two sides can't make an agreement. I blame more the players. You'll probably blame the commissioner. And now we don't have baseball for a minimum a month and a half.
Dog, did you see that? You're supposed to be the best, but I have to teach television. You're supposed to provide a tease, not a take. First take in the halves. Let's go. See what I got working?
Major League Baseball has canceled the start of the regular season, but every day that goes by, more regular season games are canceled.
We thought we had momentum, but they just ran out of time.
We have made the last proposal. You draw your
Chest that bitch,
The group won't be intimidated. Our guys care deeply about the game, care deeply about the fans. We remain committed to getting back on the field.
We need to regroup and figure out how we're going to move the process forward.
Good morning. Welcome into First Take. Thank you so much for being with us. It is Wednesday, so you know what that means. Christopher Mad Dog Russo looking very dapper, sir. So good to see you coming from the East Coast. And Mr. Smith?
How are you?
I'm excellent. I like this. We coordinated a bit today with the pink.
A little bit. I just want to say, always happy to have my man Mad Dog Russo on. I see he's clean shaven, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
But let me be very clear. The person that's looking down this morning, you have to beat me.
One score down. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. See, Christopher, I thought he was going to actually compliment me there, but I should know better. Let's go. Exactly.
He complimented me. I love that. Would you like me to start the baseball? Let's start the baseball.
No. We're going to do it now. We're going to get to the latest on Major League Baseball. 2 words you don't want to hear. No deal. The first 2 MLB regular season series have been canceled after players reject the league's proposal. Commissioner Rob Manfred announced the sport will lose regular season games over a labor dispute for the first time in 27 years after talks collapsed in the hours before management's deadline. Here's Rob Manfred and Union Chief Tony Clark.
They go back to the ground now with Penny.
The clubs and our owners fully understand just how important it is to our millions of fans that we get the game on the field as soon as possible. To that end, we want a bargain and we want an agreement with the Players Association as quickly as possible. The entertainment market today is different than 1994. My deepest hope is that we get an agreement quickly, we're back on the field, and, we get back into that market and compete effectively.
Players want to play. We all know that. But the reason we're not playing is simple. A lockout is the ultimate economic weapon. In a $10 billion industry, the owners have made a conscious decision to use this weapon against the greatest asset they have, the players. But the group won't be intimidated. I've seen more unity over the last few years than at any time in our recent history.
Okay, Christopher, tell me this. Which side looks worse? Is it the players or the owners?
Oh, listen, Manfred is the one who's going to get slaughtered here based on the idea that he is the steward of the game. He's the commissioner. He's supposed to be above it all. So he is the guy that at the end of the day, the blame is going to fall. Nobody knows who Tony Clark is. Nobody knows who Bruce Meyer is. Max Scherzer's a pitcher. He's not a laborer. He's not a negotiator. Scott Boras is very much involved with this. He's got 5 guys on the executive committee. He's not even in the meetings, but believe me, he knows exactly what's going on. He gets text messages and phone calls constantly. But here is the bottom line. They signed the players and they made the deals, and Manfred probably should have left the table giving them more. But they signed 2 bad deals. Tony Clark, the last one was awful, very pro-owner, and the players got slaughtered in 2016. Mercy rule. 10-1. So as a result of that, they have sat here, heard all the criticisms of how they did a bad job at the negotiating table. Tony Clark, of course, #1 there. He signed off on it. And as a result, they've been dying for their pound of flesh. So I don't care. God was negotiating this latest deal with them since December. The bottom line is they want a fight. They want a war. They're very competitive. They're tremendous athletes. They're great baseball players, and they're used to winning. And they're used to being on a high level here, and they know they got burned last time, so they're going to fight to the bitter end. Now, as a result, at the end of the day, I don't think they can win, because who has more money? Steve Cohen, who's worth $13 billion, or some utility infielder for the Mariners who's making $600,000? Cohen does. So at the end of the day, I don't think there's a way that they can win, but the issue really is, to me, is that the players want a war based on the last couple of CBAs. CBAs that they signed off on. And one last thing quickly before Stevie takes over and runs it. Forget the lockout. If they didn't do a lockout, the players would have strike. I got an idea for the players. All right, no lockout, you don't strike. In '94, they didn't do a lockout. Players struck, and we lost the World Series. So this idea that the owners locked them out is a bunch of is nonsense. Because if they didn't, the players would have struck in the middle of the summertime, and we would be still in the same situation. So that's a bunch of nonsense. Hopefully, we'll get this settled down the road. We'll see.
Well, see, let me say this. Let me say this. You know, I know a lot of people over at Mad Dog Radio, especially my man Steve Torrey. Good morning to him. I hope he's watching. And what I hope he does is get a gurney for you today, because you're going to need Mad Dog. You're being slick. And I want to tell you something right now, Mad Dog, right here, right now. See, you're at a decided disadvantage, but it clearly isn't because of your Major League Baseball knowledge. I know who I'm talking to. I know who I'm listening to. I know when I want to listen to my baseball. It ain't just the great Tim Kirkjian and Jeff Passan and guys like that, you know, Buster Olneys and those guys that I'm listening to. I also listen to Doggy and the people that he has on. And I've been listening to you since the 80s, my brother. The 80s. And I have never, ever once heard you come to the defense of the players. You'll give their perspective. You'll make sure to bring. But you always sit up there and talk about, hey, you know what? They would strike. Stop it. This situation is on the owners. Now, the players might take the hit because at the end of the day, when Matt Scherzer signed a 3-year, $130 million deal, or he's getting $43.3 million this year from Steve Cohen, or you know what, somebody like Mookie Betts is the 32nd highest paid player in Major League Baseball. He's at $22.5 million. We're going to look at him and we're going to say, oh, the players are just fine. It's greed. But I would remind you, got an article right in front of me, reading on ESPN.com. And there's a particular little graph, a little two sentences within the graph in this ESPN.com article, Doggy, that I really wanted to highlight because to me it crystallizes what the owners do. It says here, the league waited 3 months to counter the union's first core economics proposal, then another 6 weeks to circle back after imposing the lockout in December. Now, as a person who has covered collective bargaining negotiations, particularly in the NBA, since the mid-90s, since 1995, that would be me. You know what that strategy seems like to me, Doggy? It seems like an ownership group. Obviously, the face of it is the commissioner who answers to them, who wants to create a situation where they ultimately get to impose a final offer that the players must capitulate to. And by then, what will happen is the players will say no. As a result, they strike. And you got cats like Mad Dog Russo talking about the players struck. The players struck. These guys ain't trying to make a deal. They're not trying to capitulate. And here's the proof. COVID. These owners lost a boatload of money. They're trying to get it back. That's what they're trying to do. Players have been losing salaries for the last 4 years. That's what y'all tell me. I saw Tim Kirkjian last night talking about how revenue's down, ratings down. I don't need Tim Kirkjian or anybody else to tell me about how the popularity of the sport has dissipated dramatically in comparison to the National Football League, to the NBA, clearly to college football as well. It might not be the fourth most popular sport in America right now. This is what was once America's national pastime. So all I'm saying to you is this. While you're talking and bloviating about the position of Major League Baseball owners and how Commissioner Rob Manfred is going to take the heat or whatever, let's understand that while the players can't be completely absolved because you're clearly trying to make up for bad negotiations in the past, in the end, the owners are far from innocent. They've been playing the game. You could make an argument they have never come to the negotiating table with good faith. And when Tony Clark talks about what Major League Baseball owners are trying to impose, even though he might need to do a better job, and I don't know because I didn't cover collective bargaining negotiations, so I don't know about Tony Clark in that regard. But the bottom line is he ain't wrong about what he's saying about these owners and Commissioner Rob Manfred. Their hands are dirty in this, and how they've handled these negotiations are proof of it. They don't even have a scheduled meeting coming up.
Well, two things. First off, you're right. I have been pro-owner since 1981. So I'll give you that one. For a change, I got one right. 1,000%, 100%. I'll give you that. At 2:30 on Tuesday night, They had met all day. They were close to a deal. Word leaked out. You know who told them to get out of that meeting? Don't make a deal? Boris.
He always does.
Boris.
He always does.
They were this close. They left the meeting at 2:30, and all of a sudden they came back the next day with a different set of parameters. One other thing, Stephen. You know that on the owner's side, who's going to make the deal? Manfred is. He's the spokesman. He makes the deals. He's made every deal since '98.
Then why was he late to the party? How come he hasn't been at the negotiating table from Jump Street?
He has never lost a game in 22 years as the lead negotiator. Who makes the deal for the players? Is it Tony Clark? Absolutely not. He made a terrible deal last time. Bruce Meyer? Who makes the deal? Is it Boris? Is it Max Scherzer? Is it Andrew Miller?
Hold on, let me interject.
Who do the owners go to the players and say, guys, who is the person who can make your deal?
I got my own question. I'll answer with my own question. How dare you sit up there and act like Rob Manfred ain't in the same position? You got small market owners in Pittsburgh, places like Kansas City, maybe Arizona. That's clearly on the opposite end of the spectrum than a Steve Cohen or the Steinbrenners in New York or the Dodgers in L.A. So you got small market owners that going to hold the line. They're going to be diehard. They're going to be rough and rugged with their approach. And Rob Manfred has to find a way to maneuver his way through that terrain to get them to go on his side. But the first order of business is this. When I bring up the time, how the hell it take you 3 months to answer the union's initial economic proposal? How the hell it takes you an additional 6 weeks, since the lockout? Are you kidding me? You're not trying to make a deal. You were trying to miss games. This is what you want.
They spent 10 days in Port St. Lucie. The deal was this close, 2:35 on Tuesday night. The players left.
Do you really believe that?
Dean Stadium. They were right there.
Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Listen, I listened to Mad Dog Russo yesterday. I knew what you were going to say. I'm going to listen to you today when they call up on your radio show. You know good and damn well at least 60 to 75% of your callers don't believe that it was close. They knew that they knew that something was going to go wrong because this is what they do. If you lost the millions upon millions of dollars that any owner could speak of that they lost because of COVID-19 and how it's ravaged the world, of course, the world of sports, you know they lost money and they were hell-bent on getting it back. And if you took a cat to school with the previous 2 negotiations, as purportedly happened, I don't know if it's true about Tony Clark, but purportedly that happens. If that happened and you took them to school and you didn't have the mindset and the decency and just the foresight to say, yo, you got to give them a bone. I can't completely destroy them because I got to work with these brothers once this negotiation is over. And you weren't smart enough to do that, and you were fixated on the fact that you knocked them down and you knew you did it before. You know you could do it again.
Okay. Mad Dog, last word here.
Go ahead.
Last word is that this is going to last a while. Players wanted the war, and now they're going to get one. They lost opening day. If you get baseball prior to May 1st, I'll be shocked.
Well, I'll say this.
Prior to May, okay.
April 15th, obviously, is usually that was the target date.
Yeah.
And I think I was listening to Eduardo Perez this morning talking to Steve Phillips, and they was talking about how, Jackie Robinson. They celebrate the Major League Baseball celebrates Jackie Robinson. You go out there and play. Everybody's got the number 42 jerseys on and all of this stuff. That stuff is important as well to a lot of minorities, particularly in the sport of baseball. And when you are a sport that has suffered to ingratiate yourself with the younger demo, and you certainly have struggled to ingratiate yourself with at least the American minority community, to have that day pushed back and to all of a sudden compromise that doesn't help either. It's not good for Major League Baseball. This is a bad day. It's a bad day.
Absolutely. We'll have much more on this later, gentlemen. Stephen A. Now let's get to your sport. LeBron and the Lakers lost again last night in L.A., this time to Luka and the Mavs by 5. AD couldn't go. LeBron dropped 26, Melo 20, Russell Westbrook added 12. The Lakers have now lost 10 of their last 13. They're below 500 and 9th in the West. King James, stop.
Can you stump me out?
cut my head off, bury me 12 feet under, then I got a chance. So that's my confidence. As long as we got more games to play, we still have a chance. You know, I hate losing. I feel like poop right now. But tomorrow's a new day, and I'm going to be prepared and ready for the Clippers on Thursday. But that's my mindset. That's just mine.
Stephen A. Was it a mistake for LeBron to come to LA?
No, I don't think it was a mistake at all. Obviously, for personal reasons, that's definitely a given because of what Tinseltown offers somebody the magnitude of LeBron James. But I would remind everybody, this is a man that arrived in LA and delivered the championship, albeit in the bubble. Some people will sit up there and say, you know what, that's not the same. I'll tell you what, might have been harder. Not playing in front of crowds, not being enthused, watching the world be ravaged by COVID-19, having to live in a bubble away from your family and friends and all of this other stuff, not dealing with a level of normalcy that you're accustomed to. One can make the argument that was a more difficult championship to capture than anything. And LeBron James and Anthony Davis delivered. And they won the championship. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I'm not going to tell you that he made a mistake by going to Los Angeles. Where LeBron made the mistake was that he allowed his basketball acumen to be compromised by emotion. Russell Westbrook, this is not to knock him and act like the brother can't play. Russell Westbrook can still play. That just might not have been the ideal landing spot for him, particularly considering the other opportunities that were available for the Lakers to have players pair with LeBron James. LeBron James leaned on that relationship with Russell Westbrook, bought in to Russell Westbrook wanting to be there, compelled the Lakers organization to make that happen, and that is a large reason as to why the Lakers are in the position that they're in now, combined with the obvious durability issues involving Anthony Davis, which obviously LeBron James is also largely responsible for getting to L.A. So he owns the problem that exists now, but it doesn't mean that he should regret having gone to L.A. because there is a championship that has come from his arrival in Tinseltown.
Okay. I agree with you a little bit, but overall I say no. Number one, you don't go to L.A. and win one championship. You got to go to L.A. to win more than one championship. He also won a championship off a 5-month layoff in Orlando, where it was a long way, 3,000 in October. When the Dodgers were winning a World Series, that's a long way away from Figueroa Street. That's the first thing. First year they didn't make the playoffs, they got hurt. Last year they they got murdered by the Suns in 6 games. I know Davis was hurt, but they lost. And this year they're not making the playoffs. When you're talking about L.A. history, you're talking West, you're talking Baylor, you're talking Kobe, you're talking Magic, and you're talking Kareem. He is never going to be on that level. He's a Cleveland Cavalier. The problem that LeBron has from a standpoint of legacy is who's his team? All the great players in the history of the NBA, maybe the exception of Wilt, they got a team. Russell's a Celtic. Bird's a Celtic. Elgin Baylor's a Laker. West is a Laker. Kobe's a Laker. Jordan is a Bull. Who's LeBron's team? He played for the Heat. He's not a Heat. He's a Cavalier. And to leave Cleveland to run to L.A. and win one title after a 5-month gap, to do it in Orlando and then the other 3 years be a disaster, that's not Hollywood. That's not good. They're not making the playoffs this year. Teams are mad. Now, listen, is it his fault? No. I mean, we all know how great he is. But he is not winning a championship this year. And let's ask you this way. Stephen, let's ask you this way. If he retired right now, are they building a statue with LeBron?
No, they're not.
Right near Staples Center? They are not.
No, they're not. But wait a minute. Because, again, you brought up history. Listen, you don't go there to win one title. You go up there to win multiple titles. Respectfully. Profound respect. I must ask this question to the noted historian that is Mad Dog Russo. And when I say the utmost respect, I'm talking about who I'm about to ask you about. How many titles did Elgin Baylor have?
0.
How many titles did Jerry West have?
1.
Thank you. What do you mean multiple? There are great Lakers. Who've had one title. How many titles did Wilt Chamberlain have as a Laker?
1.
Thank you very much. How many titles does LeBron James have as a Laker?
1.
So now LeBron James, who's still playing, averaging 29 a game, looking like an MVP if his team was better, has as many titles as Wilt
as Jerry and one more than Elgin Baylor. Now, I'm not saying that warrants him being a statue erected outside a Crypto.com arena. I almost hate saying it now instead of the Staples Center. I understand that it doesn't warrant a title, but you know what I'd also add to this? Do you know who else has a title outside of the Staples Center? Do you know who?
Statue?
Oscar De La Hoya.
Which is a joke.
Oscar De La Hoya. So in other words, what I'm trying to say to you, you can say what you want about it being a joke, whatever, and I love Oscar De La Hoya. My point to you is that, are you sure ain't no statue? When you talk about LeBron James, yeah, he's a Cleveland Cavalier because he played there 11 years. How many titles did he win in Cleveland? One. Now, he erased it half a century where they had nothing going on, but he did that. But then you also, he was in Miami. How many titles did he bring to Miami? That would be 2. How many titles did Dwayne Wade bring to Miami before LeBron got there? One. How many titles? Exactly. So what I'm trying to say to you is this brother going to get his jersey retired in 3 arenas because you can retire LeBron James' jersey in L.A. You can retire his, you damn sure better do it in Miami. You can do it in Cleveland. So, he ain't going to have a statue, but excuse me, they'll have a statue for him in Cleveland. If that's what they want to do. And you know what? And if they put one in Miami, nobody would throw any shade on that with what he brought to it. So let's pump the brakes a little bit, particularly when you bring into account he's only got 1 title. I know plenty of great Lakers that didn't have any great title, and one who's the silhouette that only had 1.
He was in the finals every year, Jerry West.
So what?
He got there in 60. He's the logo. He was the MVP of a loss in the finals. He was there for 13, 14 years. LeBron's been there for 4 years. It's not that you can't compare LeBron to West. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Don't give me no fairness. Ain't about fair, it's about facts. That's what I'm giving you, facts. He's got as many championships as Jerry West. And this is what my point. You bring up the amount of times that he was in the finals every year. You know what, Doggy? You're a big baseball guy, man. You love your San Francisco Giants. You hate on the Yankees for obvious reasons, jealousy. It's okay. But let me ask you this question. How many titles did the Braves have? I know they're the reigning defending World Series champions, but prior to last year, how many times were the Braves in the championship round and won the World? So did you talk about them? We didn't really talk about them because guess what? They didn't close the deal. With no disrespect whatsoever to the silhouette. But I'm not interested in you hearing you talk about how many times he was in the finals. If you only got 1 chip, you only got 1 chip. And LeBron has that, and just like Jerry West has it. Great. Love Jerry West. Icon. But come on now. LeBron James deserves respect for what he has accomplished with the Los Angeles Lakers, particularly considering how he's playing right now. There's no doubt about it.
That was not the point. The question was, did he make a mistake? You're right. We know how great he is. He won a title. But did he make a mistake? He should have stayed in Cleveland.
Why?
Because he's a Cavalier. He born in Akron. Won a championship. Should have stayed in Cleveland.
Please. If that is the right to live with, you got to be crazy. Why stay my Lake Erie when you could be in Hollywood? What's the problem?
Okay.
And how do you? It's ridiculous.
Let's talk about this season now. Let's talk about this season, gentlemen. So the Lakers lost 6 of their last 7. We know this. They're in the 9th spot. Meanwhile, Anthony Davis will be reevaluated. Stephen A., are the Lakers missing the play-in?
They're not missing the play-in. They'll get in the play-in tournament, no doubt about it. But they look like trash right now. The Lakers look horrible. Frank Vogel's probably going to lose his job. It's not his fault. We know he can coach. The problem is when you watch the Lakers, even though they were far more competitive last night than they were against the New Orleans Pelicans the other night, you just see too many, just too many nuggets of proof of how they tuned Frank Vogel out. If you really, really want to think about it, let me tell you what's making the Lakers sick and what should be said about the Lakers that should make Laker Nation sick. And I'm here in L.A. right across the street. I'm telling you, they should be sick to their stomach, Doggy. Ty Lue, some would say, is the best coach in basketball. You wanted Ty Lue, but ended up not wanting him because you wanted to pick his staff.
And this man had gone to 4 straight NBA Finals and won a championship, overcoming a 3-1 deficit to beat the 73-win Golden State Warriors. And you disrespected Ty Lue by trying to insist on his staff. That's point number 1. Point number 2, one of the coaches you wanted to insist on him having was Jason Kidd, who was an assistant for you, and then you let him go instead of letting Frank Vogel go and elevating Jason Kidd. And look at the job Jason Kidd is doing in Dallas right now. Yeah. Frank Vogel's a good coach. He's got a championship. I'm very fond of him. I don't want him to lose his job. I don't think this is his fault. It's up his management, the Linda and Kurt Ramesses of the world that Jeannie Buss is listening to, and Rob Pelinka, Mr. Pleaser, and LeBron. All of them are in on it. They all have culpability. But let me tell you something. If you wanted Jason Kidd that badly on your staff that you was willing to bypass Ty Lue, okay, why in God's name would you let him leave for Dallas? Look at the job he is doing with the Dallas Mavericks. He's got Luka playing better. Defensively, they're one of the elite teams. There's no reason for it.
Before Christopher gets in, though, Stephen A., you heard LeBron, right? So they get AD back. If they get AD back in a month, you still have LeBron James there. You don't think they can go and make a run? You really think it's over this year?
I don't think they're going deep. I don't think they're winning in the playoffs. I think that the Lakers are probably going home in the first round because they'll most assuredly will have to play Golden State, Phoenix, or Memphis. And all 3 of those teams are beating the Los Angeles Lakers this year.
All right, so you have them going home in the first round. What about you?
Yeah, they're not. Steve's right. They'll win a play-in game. You know, big deal. They're not there to win the 7-10 play-in nonsense. They're there to win championships. They got killed by Phoenix. They lost badly to Phoenix last year, albeit Davis got hurt, but he's never healthy anyway, and they will go. They'll be dangerous. He's LeBron James, but they will lose in the first round. And again, I love Stephen A., but I mean, West every year is in the NBA Final. This is his, 4th year in L.A., so he didn't make the playoffs the first year, albeit he got hurt, but he didn't make the playoffs. He won in a bubble. Last year, he lost to Phoenix in the first round in 6 games, and he's going to lose to them again in the first round this year, or Golden State, probably Phoenix. Lose to them again in the first round this year. So it's 4 years in L.A., 1 year he's not in the playoffs, and the other 2 years he's out of the first round. So let's take it easy about this greatness of LeBron as a Los Angeles Lakers.
He's been in 10 NBA Finals. He's been in 10 NBA
Conference. In the Eastern Conference.
So that's what we're doing now.
But Stephen A., when he puts it that way, when he puts it that way with the 4 years in the resume, I know how big you are in resumes.
Right.
Do you think maybe this actually was a mistake?
I don't believe it was a mistake because I believe that he delivered on the promise. He delivered the goods. He delivered the championship. The Lakers, I will remind y'all, missed the playoffs 6 straight years before LeBron James arrived, okay? When LeBron James arrived his first year, he got hurt, okay? And he missed like 17 straight games in his season was compromised. Then he got help with Anthony Davis. He remained healthy. They went in the bubble. They won the chip. Yeah. Last year, Anthony Davis was hurt again. And LeBron was hurt. LeBron was not 100% in the playoffs last year. This, to me, there's 2 full seasons with LeBron in L.A. The year he won a title, and this year, and they've looked horrible this year, and he has to be held accountable for that. I'll give you that. But in the same breath, when you talk about Jerry West, and I hate having this subject because I love and respect the hell out of Jerry West, and I know how great he is. What I'm saying to you is this. When you talk about a person that perpetually lived in the NBA Finals, doggy, I think we have to take into consideration the fact that even though you won 1, you couldn't figure out how to win the other 8 times. I mean, damn. I can't ignore that.
The one they won, that's probably the greatest team of all time. Okay. Keep that in mind. Okay. He didn't just win. He didn't win some nominal championship. The 71-72 Lakers won. I mean, that's 33 in a row. They killed the Knicks. That's one of the great teams in the history of the NBA. And one other thing, when did Frank Vogel become a dope? 15 months ago, he won a championship. Now we got to bring Jason Kidd to coach the team. Oh, calm down, Steve.
I didn't say that. Excuse me. I didn't say that. I didn't throw shade on Frank Vogel. I know Frank Vogel's a good coach, but he wasn't their first choice. He wasn't their second choice. He wasn't their third choice. They wanted Ty Lue. They wanted Monty Williams. They wanted Jason Kidd. Frank Vogel was doing Get Up on ESPN.
Stephen A.,
what are you talking about?
What would be, he brings up a good point. What would be the difference right now if they had a different coach? How would this be any different?
I think, first of all, you would have had had individuals in place that would have held the team more accountable. Perhaps they would have dealt with Russell Westbrook a bit earlier. Perhaps they would have been able to have a stronger hand involving with LeBron James and convinced him to not just go out there and want to bring his boys on the squad with him and help make a better decision. There are a variety of things that could have happened if you were not the mild-mannered Frank Vogel, who was happy to get a head coaching job and was willing to accept whatever conditions the Lakers threw in his direction to make sure he was employed, which there's no crime against that. A lot of us would have done that in Frank Vogel's position. But make no mistake, he was not a first, second, or third choice for the Los Angeles Lakers. He was doing hits on Get Up.
All right.
Okay?
So you feel like
and that's how he became the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Because he was willing to accept Linda and Kurt Rambis and people like that picking his coaching staff for him. That is a fact.
We're leaving it there.
9-yard touchdown there.
All right, when we come back here on First Take.
Shake your head for. Shake your head for.
Drama in the desert. It's been quite the offseason between Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, and now we have a former teammate's father calling the quarterback spoiled. Stephen A. and Mad Dog have some strong thoughts. Also, as the football world continues to wait on Aaron Rodgers to make a decision, we have shocking new comments from Green Bay's GM. Keep it locked.
And only able to get this to the 19, so probably should have opted for the touchback.
As a professional bull rider, I'm used to taking chances. But when it comes to my insurance, I don't. I use Liberty Mutual. They customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
And by switching, you can even save $665.
Hey, Tex. Can someone else get a turn?
Yeah, hang on. I better break my own record. Yeah! Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Let's go places. They elect to go on 4th and 11.
Just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. Da, da, da,
Find your moment of calm. Find your potential, then own it. Support your immune system with a potent blend of nutrients and emerge your best every day with Emergency.
Thank you for taking care of Lorenzo.
For a noticeably smooth shave, Dollar Shave Club.
Want to get away? Now you can. With low fares starting at $59 one way.
Alleviate. It's fast, powerful, long-lasting relief with a revolutionary rollerball design.
Than Victor Conte, who is the same reason why Barry Bonds can't get in the Hall of Fame. Press 1. Thank you very much.
Who gave you that information?
No, I'm not. I'm just asking.
Oh, you're asking. Oh, you're asking.
No comment.
You don't want to talk about the Nangelo thing?
No comment.
The question that
Boxing, please. Terminated.
What to believe? If you put a gun to my head and say, what was he doing? I would say he was cheating.
What the fuck you think this is? Nigga talking about he was exonerated. Jigga Kelly not guilty of the charge. Remember that song? Jigga Kelly not guilty. I thought this was America, people. That nigga said exonerated. Hold on, let me get that beat real quick. I want that beat. Hold on. Let's see if he got that beat. Jigga Kelly. I thought this was America, people. They said he was exonerated. Oh, man, y'all be cracking me up. That's why you dummies be on Twitter. Exactly why. Let's go. Oh, yeah, this is a classic right here. Canelo is exonerated. How you get exonerated?
fancy. You fancy. You fancy. You got a really good one. Oh, man, you wild. Did you say bitch? I was watching Sports Center. Huh? You had grandparents? Nah. See, that's what it is. See, I got, when your moms drop you off by the grandparents, this is